So now I used to always have a bag, I still do.
Full of books.
Full of books.
I know.
Travel.
Since I knew him, with the bag, books. Ameacha kusoma vitabu za John Maxwell. Zimeweka zimejaa kwa bag.
Zimejaa na babi hata kasoma. But somehow
So how long did you guys date?
1 year.
Well, before you got married?
Yes.
Of course, you knew each other in 2017.
Yes.
But officially dating, you started dating after how long?
We started dating in
December. The same year, December.
Oh, to 2021, eh?
Yes.
Oh, so you started dating in December after a period of getting to know each other and doing things together. Then officially Keith asked you out now in December.
Yes.
And then you dated for 1 year before your marriage.
No, before now courting and the whole official processes.
Oh, okay.
Of now we're planning for marriage. Now we're headed towards.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
So what are some of your dating experiences that you guys had? I mean, in your dating life, you know, dating comes with so many. It's on. Sometimes people say, "Oh, dating what equal real," or dating this is what goes to. Are there some point dating you guys were almost like, it's not working out. This thing by the way is over. So what are some of the highs, the lows? How do you manage? Just want to hear your story in your dating. What are some of your things that you can remember, your highlights in your dating life? What are those things that you feel like these were very low and they were low? And what are those like you were high and they were high? And how do you come around this? So it's tell us.
Highlights.
Yeah.
I think when I look back over our dating life and period, I think I am very excited and thankful to God it went the way it did. First of all, we invited God. Okay, it sounds very churchy. It sounds the correct thing to
It's well, it's to be confident in God.
But for real, we invited God in everything we did. From the very onset to very clear on our boundaries, on what we wanted, on now where we are headed and why this friendship is. And because we shared quite a lot, the mentorship, he did mentorship, I also did mentorship with girls and music. I sing, he played keys.
She plays keys.
And also I play keys.
Yeah, but I've not seen you playing keys.
Well, it is coming, you will see.
Oh, amazing. Hidden talent, eh?
Yeah.
Kuna launch your day, eh? So we shall wait.
Yeah, so we had quite a lot in common. So every time we'd meet together, it wasn't just talking about us, those surface things of me I like blue, me I like pink, like this one. So it wasn't much of the surface kind of discussions, but we were mostly discussing on just matters to do with our purpose in God and why we exist on earth. And because he's, like you've heard, or most of you who know Keith, he's a dreamer. He's a visionary. And that's one of the things that made me just want to stay closer to him. Even if this relationship didn't lead to marriage, I believe we'd still be very good friends because there's an authenticity he had, just the whole seeing ahead thing, So on the highlights, we used to meet every Wednesday. Right here.
In church.
Yes, in church. Sometimes in Thika Road Baptist Church, sometimes here, Crocker Hall, right here, somewhere, Crocker Hall, yes. Crocker Hall one. We'd meet there, just have our time. At first, actually, before we talk and iron out things, you didn't call me, you didn't text me yesterday night, what mambos, we'd pray. So we'd actually separately take time to pray. Maybe Keith would go to the chapel or I'd go somewhere else. And after about 40 minutes, gather together, pray together, and then now discuss all these other mambos. Yes, and that really, really helped us. We didn't think it would, but that was one of our highlights when we dated.
Wow.
And also visiting couples. We really visited couples. Yes. We visited older couples, like all ages, whether younger, just early marriage or very advanced in marriage, just to gain stories and to hear how it went for our parents, people older than our parents, almost grandparents. How was it for you? How are you managing even now? So that really helped us in gaining wisdom from other couples.
Do you have an highlight for you?
Yep.
For you?
Yeah, my highlight. There's a school I've been serving in mentorship over the years. I'd gone there from 2014. And then when I turned 17, I went to that with a lady that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2018,
Mm.
I also went. I think I went alone.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next year, I came with Anne,
Mm.
and it was so fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fulfilling. I did the team building and mentorship. Then she did therapy.
Mm.
That feeling of synergy.
Mm.
I've always loved her. I still do. But before then, I felt, wow, there's no feeling like there's something bigger than us that has brought us together. For me, that was a major, major highlight
Amazing.
of saying, let's put our energies together and push this goal together. And in marriage, it's the same thing.
And that's how the mentorship was born in 2019. We started in January. Like a joke, you know, and we put a team together.
This is the Star Rise, right?
Yes, no, this is Star Rise. So just, these are your people, these are my people, they come from different churches. You know, like start meetings, let's see how we can grow a team so that we can kick off this mentorship thing.
Hey, you guys, your dating life looks like you guys look who are connected.
But here's the story. It was intentional. It was extremely intentional. And then a lot of people think doing it God's way is shady and miss out on the fun and everything. It looks like you didn't have a life. How can you just meet in church and start with prayer and then work out the day's plan? Where it came in handy, and Pastor Nguko, you remember the story. After a season of prayer, we come to Pastor Nguko and says, choose a date. Whichever date you choose, that's the wedding day. Kusema tunataka hii. That is in 2019, almost June. So Pasi went next year, February 7th. After a season of prayer. Then the next year we do a wedding. Now that's 2020. Do the wedding in 7th February. Then Corona hits. Then the country is locked for the whole year. In Sitam Thick where we come to church. I think that was the biggest event in 2020.
Yes, before the lockdown. Yes.
And so now people look and say, how did you know? It's because God was invited from the very onset. And to my friends out there, God doesn't go where he's needed, he goes where he's invited. This is in John 2. Before the wine ran out, Jesus and his disciples were invited. So a lot of people, it's when the wine runs out,
it's when you want to invite
Jesus and his disciples. And then also Mary was present. So those are like layers of authority. Someone can explain it better, but God is in the picture, the people of God in the picture, and there's Mary, an overseer saying, whatever he tells you to do, do it. We had all these categories of people in the picture. We had God, we had Pastor Nguko, we had so many people. By the time we're saying, guys, help us. Guys are like, Kani Keith, let's plug in. So it matters how you do your dating life.
I think somebody said, I think when you said that about the wine and Jesus, and I remember somebody once said, the fact that Jesus was invited, the fact that he was invited, and he's able to do what he did. And that's the same thing. When you invite Jesus in your life, invite Jesus. And remember, this is not just inviting Jesus for a crusade. This was a party.
Yes,
this was a party. There was no crisis. It was a time of celebration, what have you. And Jesus did that. It's not the same thing. We don't wait for crisis to invite Jesus, but also invite Jesus when things are glamorous and all that. Amazing. So before you tell us if there were some laws in your dating, I have a question for you guys. Now, Keith, or let me start with Anne. Is there a character quality that Keith has that you wish you had?
That I wish I had?
Yes.
Consistency.
So you didn't tell me about consistency?
No, for real. That one, I can say it, I can shout it.
Consistency.
Yes, this man is.
Hey, Buddha should be consistent.
Yes, this man is the same. Whether you put him in a hole, put him up there in the palace with kings, his speech will be the same. His character, his attitude. Somehow he will not change because there's a big person who's coming, or he feels like, these people. When we met, he literally had no money.
Yeah, he was a pauper. We know that.
Yes. So life was quite something.
Do your part. Wait.
He was. He was.
I knew hapa tu hapa. I'm not running for the money because anajua tu hakuna.
Hapa kuna.
Me I'm just banking on his dreams and his vision in God. So, the first job, I think one of the first jobs he got was to teach music in a very small school. Think about 50 kids in total, and he had 10 children, about 10 children he was teaching music. And he was earning, what were you earning? 10K after 3 terms. No, after 3 months.
3 months.
That's 10K after 3 months. Friends, that's struggles, you know?
Struggle. Earth is hard. Earth is hard. Earth is hard.
And then those children were different ages. So it's not like at one age it was preschooler, these junior schoolers, and then a senior schooler. So you can imagine how that class was going with just one keyboard. But you could see the energy, the psych, the intentionality.
The
come to class in time, have a lesson plan, have them all engaged, and they could all play the same thing, and they could all enjoy the class together despite the challenges of space and all those things. So he's a very consistent man.
And by the way, I tell you guys, those who are watching us, Keith is a very good, he teaches music actually, and it's very good whether you want to learn keyboard, you want to learn drums, whatever it is music that you want to. This is the guy to go to. Actually, you keep keys.
Keep keys.
Used to call us that. Yeah, no, ulibadilisha keys. She got the keys. Amazing. Yeah, if you want to learn, if you have your child, and Keith doesn't just come to teach and go. It's a whole package. He teaches and he mentors. So that's your mentorship ni bonus. So invite him to come, and he'll come with Anne. Kama uko na dem pia anataka kulearn, imagine. Vocals pale vio anaivishwa, learn vocals, and the teachers play this one. Yes, moving on, guys. So now, I think that's the one thing. So Keith, what is that one thing, one character that Anne has, and which if I had that one, my life will be different?
For her, attention to detail. Today I learned the difference between something great and something mediocre is attention to detail. So now, the more details you add, the more she understands. Like in the school you teach, she knows who's in which class, in which stream, who's the dad. I'm like, how do you do that? Me, I've got 10 kids.
Wewe bora umefunza watu na umesonga mbele.
She's the admin of the school, by the way. So I really admire her attention to detail. And I don't know if she remembers, but when we were dating and I was still in the position of like pitching my proposal, I said, in my future, I see myself writing many books, and I need someone who is able to follow up on every detail. Because up on Dotaibiwa, if I produced 1,000 books and then 7 are missing, I wouldn't notice.
Yes.
So I was like, Lord, send someone who's on the detail, at the gatekeeper. Every coin matters, and something I appreciate about her. She's our planner. So
if God gave you, or if God gave you Anne's character of keen to details, you'll be like, ooh, Jesus, I'm a full pack. So will you chuja her in your life? And the beauty about God, hakupeangi kila kitu. So that is the thing that you need her for, and that's the same thing, consistency. That's what you need him for. So guys, now in your dating, back to your dating story. You guys are sharing at least some of the highlights, that was amazing, that made up your dating. What are some of the lows that were in your dating life that you were like, this was so low for us, while you were dating? Do you have some, Keith?
Yes. When my past skeletons upbringing now became understanding, says your present will be your past and will be present in your future. So now when the past became present, and this is I was not afraid of my past, but then now became a hindrance to us moving forward. That's my childhood. So every time you try and bring it up,
it shut down.
Yes.
And by the way, how did you deal with the shutting down? Because imagine you're talking to a guy and when you just say something about dad, like moving on swiftly. So how was it for you, Anne?
For me, it was quite like an alarm. I was like, hey, this one, by God's grace, may God give me the wisdom to help him get through. Perhaps maybe he didn't have someone to help him just process what happened, and I might not understand the intensity of what that meant for him. So I would bring up the topic many times. Until now, he cannot shut down.
And then she brings up the topic of my dad. My son is still easy.
Just
suddenly,
you're not sleeping.
Let us talk. So I'll just hang in there and really hear him out. What happened? How did it go? How come you don't talk to dad? What's the reasoning? All these things that go with family. Yeah. So I remember this one time I was very hard on him. I sent him a very long text. you know, really, so that the reality can be before his face of what he's doing in terms of shutting down whenever the topic that would come up, and what that means for his future wife, if I wasn't going to be the one, you know, and what it means for him moving on, even becoming a dad to someone else. So I think it hit him different, and he sobered up, and somehow, by God's help and grace, we just journeyed through together, and thank God now, we're in an amicable relationship.
Amazing.
So at least I'm able to talk, and it's not push and pull. It's not.
Amazing.
I never want to see again that bitterness. God helped him a great deal to deal with it.
Amazing. That's why you need some great partners like you in life, you know. So, what was your low moment?
Oh, my low moment. There's one night I remember. We, for the first time, we slept without talking to each other.
Watu wana struggle na serious issues.
So me, okay, what caused it was something called communication, and I think how he received it is not how I meant to communicate it. So I had always desired to go to Australia to further my studies and do my master's. So I went to one of the embassy agents. I don't know what.
Australian embassy.
Yes, Australian embassy, and also the agent, one of the agents for education, education agent, yes, for a certain university in Australia. In Sydney. So it's like I had begun the process, and that was 2019. We had already started dating and everything. That was early 2019. We'd already talked about this mentorship. We had started it and kicked it off. So now here I am talking about
going to Australia.
It seemed like I was actually going that day, you know. Me, I just go to inquire.
And I'm guilty about it.
What want a future? Hey, this future. Hey.
Yeah, so I was just going to inquire and ask how it was going to be like, or what's required, and do I need to work before because I hadn't graduated by then. Yeah, so I came home with the papers, and I told, it was like a good news to me, you know. I actually went to the Australian embassy, and I checked this thing in me. I just knew I had to go through this test and this test. And for him, it was, what? You literally are leaving me, you know. Ushachukua application papers, hata sikuwa nimejaza. But to him it felt like nishajaza, you know, nishamtoka. Now it's gonna be long distance relationship, you know. So it sounded different for him, and he reacted very badly. So he was like, I think even we should just call this off. I think we should. And
you are there wondering, what's wrong with you, guy?
What? We call this off. Why are we calling it off?
Because you're going to Australia.
Wow.
So
he's like, I can do long distance, and that's where it ended. So I was left with many questions. And one day, where's this coming from? I never said I'm going tomorrow or the next month, you know. So that's the day that we slept quite at odds. So that's one of the things.
And the wisdom thing, you know, she comes from a very closely linked family. She didn't tell anyone what's happening. She just came home and went to sleep. And you know, fathers and the daughters, but was still being verified from a distance. And something we didn't say, she comes from a pastor's family, and a very, very spiritual and godly church.
Yes.
So Keith, an outsider, walks into that church and says, I want the choir director, nataka mtoto wa pastor. I have no reference.
No reference. You don't know where you're coming from.
So the dad naturally would want to know who ni nani, ametoka happy. So definitely you don't come and say from close range. So imagine the dad is still in the place of
what is happening.
What's happening? And then Anne comes home crying. Please, my heart. So I really appreciate that wisdom. She kept it to herself. So friends, when you're having issues with your spouse, go to a godly counselor, but don't spill it over to parents. Because they'll say us versus you.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, interesting. So let me ask you guys, in your dating life, clearly I could tell parents were also when you guys are dating, they knew what was happening, and they knew more so your parents, because you came from a very close knit kind of a family. Kids sisi ndio tulikuwa familia yake. Tukwambie tu ukweli. Tukwambie tu ukweli. Yeah, but all in all, they were kind of involved in your dating life or phase. did you guys have like boundaries you guys did, or what that, or there, let me put it this way, did you guys have do's and don'ts in your dating when you guys were dating?
Yes. One of them was staying pure.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when background, me, I grew up in a context where people didn't get married, and that led to the context I grew up in. So because I'm, hey, my son cannot grow up the same way I did. So a context of purity is important too. So we used to meet in public.
Yes, all the time. Never.
Like guys never met.
House, or never in our house, or in our room. When parents have traveled, we just decide to play husband and wife. No. We steered clear from anything that looked like art. So we really try, of course, having our privacy, just meeting in a fairly public place, whether it's a restaurant or just in the open, but not really in an enclosed place, because it's what. Generally, feelings were there. Yes, they were. Even when meeting in public, you know, there's still some emotions.
I feel I want to touch this guy.
Yes, I really want to sleep on his chest. I really want him to do this and that. But knowing God and knowing just the boundaries we had set, and just in honoring Him, should this thing not work out, I will know I hadn't really crossed some boundaries, so it would be easier for me to heal. So I think we were very clear on our purity boundaries and how we
spiritual authority. We never dated. She never missed church on account of dating Keith. So that one.
On Sunday, that was
we never used to meet on Sundays. I honored her father and mom in terms of timings. Something young people will do, especially the men. If you're dating someone's daughter and then you're still with her at 8:30, 9:30, 10 p.m., then the dad starts looking for you. You're already violating an authority figure. So I never collided on any day with Baba Ann on account of Michelle. So we really used to try to be done by 6 p.m. So by the time the mom is calling, she's at home. So spiritual authorities, physical boundaries, honoring social circles, ministry boundaries. So we never said, we tried and say that you were someone before we met. So the circles you're part of will not interfere, continue until the day we got married, and even after, we still honor those boundaries.
So the other things you guys allowed that you can still remain to be an individual, a person that you met, and you can keep on doing the things that you wanted to pursue, the people, your friends that you had, and all that, but also at the same time, there were boundaries. So what was the boundary between, let's say, for example, your friends? Because these days, sometimes, people just dating today, pop, and I feel like it's a challenge to most ladies. Whoop, all their friends are... There's a man. Of course, this is not Jesus. He's a man. And then all friends wanafukuzwa, you become more exclusive. I mean, how did you navigate? Yes, I know you allowed. How did you navigate that?
Now the boundary. First of all, he had to understand. Definitely, I had friends before I met him, so I didn't let that interfere with my relationship with other men and with other friends I had, with other ladies or whoever. So if we were to meet, for example, maybe in the social circle where he's involved, then he'll definitely come around and we have kind of like a group thing. It's not just me isolating him. So I really tried to intentionally avoid just keeping it to myself. And it's, that clingy attitude, especially as ladies can have, it's part of our insecurity. Yes, that we are very clingy. This is the man. Why? What are you doing around here? Why are you talking to him? So I really tried to not let that thought bear fruit in me. So I allowed him, if it's your friends, you go have fun with them. Even me, I had a life before. So I really tried to normalize our dating life. Because sometimes dating, people picture it as, seclusion. I need to get you out of the park of this fish in the sea. I need to
remove it and you play with aquarium.
There's somehow, and truly you can tell the difference between a fish that's in the aquarium and the fish in the sea. Definitely, there's a place it can't grow to or grow into because of the environment. So I didn't really remove him from the sea. actually, I thought it was better in me knowing him because he would not pretend among his friends.
Amazing.
So it would make me really observe his behavior when he's around female friends, when he's around male friends, when he's around authority figures, pastors. So I'd see how he's talking to someone, talking to a driver, talking to, a watchman here, nini. So I would know, actually, he's truly authentic, he's truly kind. So it's not something he's trying to just show me that he's a very good man. And
say that story date.
Hey, one of these men that asked me, that's why I'm telling you, he authenticity is truly authentic. Girls, pay attention. Anyway, so there's this guy who was interested in me, took me out somewhere, and so it was a very
man of God.
Flamboyant kind of outing. It was very lavish. And he spent quite a bit of money. He even borrowed his friend's car, thingy, so he can drop me, just sufficient TV.
Man of God, ameona wewe naimba, God akipiga pale huduma unaimba. Iko nini? Shapanga kanisa.
So we talked quite at length that day. Wonderful setup and everything. So when you finished, we were driving off, and at Upper Mountain Mall, when he was about to drop me home, I was living at Safari Park. Upper Mountain Mall, when you're navigating that roundabout,
Yes.
you know but to the way they drive, they don't care. So he just cutting like this up on Bele when he's just about to exit the roundabout. And he stopped the car. Suddenly, I just saw a different man, fits of rage, abusing the guy using F words, S words. What? Me, I was just. I was like, oh wait, so this is you, So that situation just made me want, okay, yeah, so that's going to be me one day. That's going to be me one day.
You'll be abused. You'll be abused that way.
I'll be abused the same way if you can do that to someone else. So I didn't make excuses for his behavior and say, oh, it's a matatu guy or what. Not really. I really took him by what he showed, and okay, so
when people show you who they are, believe them. Never explain away a red flag.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe make it look like maroon.
Yeah, red flags. We can make them green. We can make them green. We can make the red flag green.
From inside.
I think you can be able to save yourself from that hell of first year of marriage by good dating, and that is doing your homework, doing your background check of who's this person, not just looking good in restaurants, that whole Instagram posting and stuff, but doing the background real checks of just being in that person's space continuously. Okay, not in a nagging way, but in a frequent basis to just know who is this guy.